Rolling, the thing all Souls players do. Some roll eloquently, some spam roll, and some people are just a mix between the two. But what people don't do is roll to damage an enemy, except if your gamer's weakened or a little aggy. You see, both of these top tier Souls players took on the challenge of beating Dark Souls with only using the Thorn's armor. Tragically, both players were stopped by the Four Kings. Little Aggie had to summon a friend, and Gamers Weekend, who was doing this on NG+, had to use a weapon to get past them. On top of this, I found no evidence of anyone beating all the bosses with only Thorn armor. Gamers Weekend was the closest with only missing Moonlight Butterfly and the Four Kings. So I figured it was high time I threw my hat into the ring and see if I could beat Dark Souls with only rolling. Starting off, I named my character Limp Biscuit because... For the class, I went with the Bandit since it has the highest endurance at 14, and I will be needing to get that up to 68 as soon as possible. For the gift, I went with the Master Key because I'll need to get to Havel as soon as possible. Now, it's not possible to get the Thorn armor right away, which is the only possible option to deal damage through rolling. You would have to kill Kirk 3 times, and then the armor would be located on a corpse near the Daughter of Chaos. The only way to get this would be through some complicated glitches and multiple hours of doing it, so to save time, I just gave myself the armor. The helm, the gauntlets, and the leggings each add 20 physical AR, while the chest piece adds 50 to its attack aka roll, for a total AR of 110. The question you might be wondering right now is, can you increase its damage? Sadly, you cannot. Upgrading the armor does not increase damage, nor does Power Within or even RTSR, so I am stuck with the lovely attack rating of 110 for the entirety of this run, which for the case for the Asylum Demon wasn't too bad with dealing 38 damage. I had to remove my leggings so that I wasn't fat rolling everywhere, but I will fix that problem shortly. So after too short of a time rolling into some demon cheeks, I could level up. Since nothing else scales with armor, I'll be focusing on vitality and endurance. I then roll myself on over to Havel's location to use the Master Key and aggro me a Havel. You might be thinking, I am insane to try and roll this rock of a man to death, and you would be correct. So, instead, I used my noggin and let gravity do the work for me. Took a decent amount of falls, but eventually the hunky Havel went down for me to get the Havel's ring, which will allow me to wear all 4 pieces of armor without fat rolling. With the Thorn armor needing Twinkling Tonic to upgrade it, I made sure to roll over every crystal lizard I came by, except Karma, aka Bads, sent some bad juju my way for me to walk off a cliff. Definitely didn't get distracted by reading chat. If you would like to see the stream highlights from this run, check out my second channel, I Can Liked. With that shameless plug-in out of the way, I stumble across a tree and I start... so that I can get the Wolf's Ring for a bit more poise. I currently need 20,000 souls to buy the Crest of Artorias so that I can get the Darkwood Grain Ring. My 2 solutions are to use the Red Drake Farm or fight Stray Demon. I made the horrible decision to let chat choose, and y'all can guess which one they picked. Always remember, never let chat pick, because they will always pick the most torturous option because they like seeing people suffer. The key to the Stray Demon was just shoving my face into his thick cake for an unhealthy amount of time. Poor Scully wishes he was in my position right now.
I'm cool with just watching, no matter what, I get a happy ending.
Ooh, okay, and the Stray Demon is dead after rolling into him 375 times for 33 minutes. On the way back to Firelink Shrine, I grabbed the West Key, which I should have gotten before so I could get the Rusted Iron Ring, but that will come back to bite me later. I then used the 20k souls to get the crest so that I could roll into a ninja, making both of us fall to our deaths. All part of the plan. With the ninja dead, I could get the Darkwood Grain Ring. The ring will turn my roll into a fast flip and gives me more iframes. Now, in Gamers Weekend's video, he advised not using it, which I will understand why he said that and explain that later on. But it wouldn't be an Arcane Dark Souls run without it. After that, I get to level 19 and take on the good old Taurus Demon, where I did some decent damage at 28, and with the fast flip from the ring, I could speed up how much damage I could do, making this fight in a reasonable time of 2 minutes. Feeling flippin' strong, I went visit the twins, where I was speeding through their health bars, which made me question Gamers Weekend's assessment on the ring, but that's only because these bosses are big. Once I get to a smaller and more tedious boss, it will all come together. Fun side note, you can't deal damage to the tail stubs. I don't know why, but the tail stubs don't have a hurt box. So that was fun to find out, but it ended up only taking 7-8 rolls to flatten them. I then came across some thieves and started rolling into the Capra fight. I thought this fight might be tricky, but I forgot the dogs have no poise, so you can just stun roll them to death. For Capra, you can just dodge his attacks into him. For a second, I thought I could bait out his jump attack to get easy rolls in, but that didn't pan out so well. So I just had to keep dancing with him for a bit until he went down, letting me get my endurance to 33, meaning I can now ninja flip with all 4 pieces of gear. I then had the mega brain idea of not taking my pants off so I could kick Locktrick off the cliff, but instead try and kill him with rolling. That idea wasn't panning out so well, so I needed help from Scully's long-lost cousin, Tony, to whittle his HP down, so that he could just roll off the edge, for me to get the FAP ring, which won't be used until near the end of this run. After that, I head to Blighttown to roll over to the Great Hollows so that I could get the Chloranthy ring for later use. With those 2 rings gathered, it was time for Kirk's waifu's sister, Quelaag. I was under the illusion that this was going to be an easy fight since you could just stay close to Quelaag to entice her to do her sword combo, allow me to roll into her armpits. Easy enough, right? Technically, yes, if she actually decided to cooperate. In my case, she decided to keep spitting lava at me and not passing up on free damage, I oblige. But I was lulled into a false sense of safety and got trapped between her legs, allowing her to explode on me. Fortunately for me, Kirk's armor had some decent defense that I could survive the blast. Tragically, it didn't stop there. She would occasionally spit on me from time to time, dropping my Estus to 2, and with her still having more than half her HP, I had to lock in. Crazy what a little bit of focusing can do for you. With Quelaag dead, I take out my last competition so that I can have the White Lady all to myself. If I'm gonna play as Kirk, I also got a simp for the White Lady. Once done sipping, I dash on over to Sin's Fortress and... Excuse me? Excuse me? Oh dear God, not again! Once back alive, I roll on some giant balls to fight the Iron Golem, where I got to run in between the large bastard's legs for 10 minutes. Funny enough, I was able to make him stumble, but was not able to make him fall over, sadly. I like to think I was a fancy bristle pad that made the rusted Iron Golem shiny for his funeral ceremony. With the Golem bristled out, I get to level 40, have the worst luck trying to go across the rafters, to then fight ONS where I die within 30 seconds. Well, this is gonna be fun, isn't it? So this finally brings us to the hitbox situation with the 2 rolls, because it was here that I noticed with Ornstein that even though I was rolling into him with the flip ring, no damage was happening, making me understand Gamers Weekend's assessment of the ring. With all these misses, it made me wonder if the flip ring's hitbox is thinner than the normal roll. So to find out I was right or wrong, I open up the debugger to look at the hitboxes and come to find out they have the exact same hitboxes. The only difference between the 2 of them is where the player is at in the hitbox. In the normal roll, the player is in the sphere hitbox for the entire roll, whereas for the flip ring, the sphere stays on the thigh to the upper chest, and the sphere goes away before the player's chest is fully upright. So from the player's perspective, when using the ring, you think you're running into Ornstein's hurtbox, but in actuality is going away before it connects, or the player just passes the bosses up before the hitbox can meet with the hurtbox. This gives a visual disconnect, making it seem like you did roll into them when you didn't. Whereas with the normal roll, the visual is more aligned, giving it a more accurate feeling. So if you're using the flip ring with the Thorn set, you need the upper chest to connect with the enemy before your character is fully upright for the damage to occur. With knowing how to properly use it, the flip ring and the Thorn armor are a great combo, even though the devs should have designed the hitbox to change with the flip ring to make the visual indicator make sense, but it's not worth complaining about a game that came out in 2011. Even without knowing how to properly use the flip ring with the armor, I was able to take out Ornstein by getting rolls in when he was doing his combos. For Super Smo, I thought I could get hits in after he does his lightning butt slam attack, but after messing up the timing, I had to play a lot safer and only get rolls in after he slams his hammer down, drawing out this fight to a total time of 40 minutes. With ONS finally defeated, I get myself to level 46, get tag teamed by Tony and his brother Todd for me to fight Pinwheel. Chat was telling me that this fight was going to be hard this time because of my low damage, but come to find out it was super easy. All I had to do was roll into the clones to make them go away and then focus on Pinwheel. Even when he did his big summon, I didn't have any issues at all taking them out for me to 1v1 Pinwheel. And with dealing 22 damage, it wasn't too hard to bring him from 1326 HP to 0. I then proceeded to walk off another ledge. My god, you would think it's press continue playing and not me. To cheer myself up, I grabbed Scully to trade him off later.
What?
I was told by Headmaster Lemon to stand in front of Frampt, which I forgot to do in my last run, but I don't know why he would.
Oh my god, that son of a bitch!
I've been violated.
You say that if it's a bad thing.
After resisting the urge to punt Scully like a football, I lit the beacon for Rohan, so that I can infiltrate the Duke Archives to Crystal Lizard. Crystal Lizard? Damn it, not now!
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Oh hi, Steve. How kind of you to teach me how to do a backflip. Also, if you're wondering, yes, you can roll dash hit the guard for the key. I then do a bit of wheel turning and take on Seath the Scaleless. Seath surprisingly wasn't horrible. I was only dealing 12 damage, which isn't great, but I found out I could actually loop Seath for the most part. If you go to his right tentacle, you'll see the small crystal nub in the center of it. If you just follow that nub while rolling into it, you can spin Seath in a circle while dealing damage to him. Just only took 20 minutes and 461 rolls, but I got it done. I then came across a lovely painting and...
Why does everything want to suck on me? Sucky, sucky, $5, me love you long time.
Time for Priscilla, where I got to play my favorite game, Where's Priscilla's Feet? A lovely game of staring at the ground for 18 minutes. The most interesting thing that came out of staring at the ground was finding out Priscilla can actually get stuck on some of the rocks. So that's another fun bug for Dark Souls 1. After that fun time of playing hide and seek, Gwendolyn was up next, and for those who know how low damage runs go, I had to chase the boss to the end of the hallway and spin him in circles until he could spin no more. With Gwendolyn put down, it was time for me to roll into a Hydra, which wasn't that hard to do until I got to the final head. I was told in the comments that all I need to do in this situation is just run off to the left hand side and I won't have any issues with lopping off the last head. I had issues with lopping off the last head. The biggest culprit was not being fast enough to get to the head were my regret of not getting the rusted iron ring, so I went back to the asylum to fix that mistake and try it again. I was fast enough this time, but more often than not the head would still be too far away, so I had to do this fun game of running back and forth until finally I was able to lop off the final head. That was more complicated than most boss fights. I then roll into a crystal dude and a female. Stay back, you heathenous witch! I have eyes for only one lady. After escaping from harm, I kill the blue crystal dude so that I can roll around with a giant lion with wings. For Sanctuary Guardian, the best time I found to get rolls in were after his dive bomb attack and after he does his air slam attack. The trick for the dive bomb is to roll back and forth on his tail to rack up quick damage. Downside to this is if you get too confident, he will slap you with his tail and you will eventually cut off his tail, reducing the amount of hits you can get in, which ended up leading me to attack him after he would do his small jump attack to get some more hits in, to make this fight only last for 19 minutes. I then found a dying Elizabeth, which gave me 3 Elizabeth mushrooms, and I could get a 4th in a small nook in the wall. I will be needing this for the 4 Kings fight. Another crystal lizard, perfect! I need some more twinkling titanite. I'm no longer surprised at this point. After gathering those items, it was time for the big bad Artorias fight. Artorias, for the most part, is fought the same way as you would normally fight him, with getting hits in when he does his thrust attack or his spinning attack. The best time is his spin attack since you can get an easy 3 rolls in, but the more unique opening is when he does his flip attack. With the roll dealing damage, you can dodge to the side of it while getting a hit in, and if you're lucky, you could get him to do this 3 times in a row. The only hard part to this fight is actually not losing concentration. You see, with this low of health and this long of a fight, if you make even one simple mistake, it can end a 16-minute attempt. Meaning, it's time to lock the fuck in. 25 minutes and 313 rolls later, and the mighty knight has fallen. I then use his souls to get my endurance to 65. Gwyn, damn it! Alright, maybe just killing the fire sage will get the job done. Now, children, how do we deal with a fire sage?
Stop, drop, and roll into ass.
Very good, children, very good. This should be enough, motherfucker! Fine, I'll go fight Manus then. Interestingly enough, Manus was a lot easier than you would expect. With Manus having a giant arm that he likes to slam down or just hang by his side, you can just roll into that bad boy 3 to 6 times to get some serious damage for a low damage run. The most interesting opening was actually after his magic shotgun attack. I never realized this before, but every time he finishes the attack, he yells at the player. So you can just go up and hit him after dodging his attack, which just keeps showing you how well developed his fight is. With a boss with this much HP having all these openings, it helps speeds up the fight from being a slog and gives the player with any playstyle with multiple openings to get hits in. Which is why Manus is my favorite boss in Dark Souls 1, because he feels the most fleshed out of the 26 bosses in the game, and after 24 minutes, this amazing boss went down. Which is funny because he has almost double the amount of HP as a Tartarus, and his fight was shorter. Ah! A woman! Damn it! Dusk, I told you already, I have eyes only for the white lady. I'm not Saikuno. Thanks to Manus, I can finally hit 68 endurance, which means I no longer need the Havel's Ring to fast roll. With no longer needing Havel's Ring, I hitch a ride from some old friends to Sin's Fortress so that I can get the Slumbering Dragon Crest Ring and trade in Scully for the Fog Ring so I don't have to hear him talk anymore.
Oh.
Meaning it's time to fight Nito, and by fight I mean lure him away from his army so that I can roll into him for about 20 minutes. With no longer needing points for endurance, I can put all my points into vitality. The Four Kings fight is approaching, so I start farming up souls so that I can purchase the rest of Twinkling Tinites I needed to get my armor to +5. After upgrading my armor, I killed a Gaping Dragon, which I almost completely forgot about. I then used some of his souls to buy some green blossoms for the Moonlight fight. From watching Gamers Weekend's video, I was terrified of going into this fight thinking the health regain was going to make this like the bare fist run, but fortunately that was not the case. With using the flip ring, I could roll fast enough into the butterfly's face to deal between 200 to 220 total damage, which is plenty to outpace the health regain. Now, I don't know if this would be enough for the NG Plus version of this fight, but my guess is it could be. The downside is it would be like the bare fist run and no one should go through that. One flying pest down, one more to go. Cammy was also surprisingly very easy to deal with. At first you would think to fight him normally or just bait out his stomp attacks to get hits in, but the best option is actually to loop him in a circle, and as of typing this now, I realize how many fights have been won by just spinning a boss in a circle for an unhealthy amount of time. The trick to spinning Cammy is to be right outside his hind legs. By being right here, he will rotate to the side, which I then need to just keep rolling into the outside of his foot to keep the loop going. The hard part of this is not going to the inside of his foot or going too far away. If either of these two things happen, it will stop the loop. Besides that, I just did this for 19 minutes and a total of 491 rolls to win. I then get myself to level 73, roll into a Centipede Demon's Feet 246 times, to then have a normal fight with a bed of chaos. For me to then be forced to slowly kill Sif in the most agonizing way possible. It literally killed me in the inside when she fell to the side. FromSoft are evil for not giving us a way to save this good girl, and my punishment for not ending her suffering fast enough is dealing with the Four Kings. I knew from the start that this fight might be the run ender, which probably also had y'all asking the entire time why I wasn't using the Grass Crest shield, Sanctus shield, or any healing spells. Well, I really wanted to see if the game could be beaten strictly with using the Thorn armor set without the shield or spells, and technically it could be, but it's not worth it. The Kings deal so much damage with me dealing so low damage that with no other assistance it makes this fight outright miserable. I even got the Grass Crest shield, some healing over time spells, getting my vitality to 50, and using the Fap ring, to not even come close to lowering the Four Kings' health to half away. Sadly, I forgot to get the Sanctus shield after Leroy somehow fell to his death, but 2 HP per 2 seconds wasn't going to change much. No, the only solution in this predicament is one I have come across in 2 other low damaging runs, and that is using Humanity. Humanity can instantly heal you, and with being able to hold 99 of them, you can out-heal the DPS check on the Four Kings. Now, this is easier said than done with this armor set than using Havel's. Havel's set can easily poise through hits to get Humanities off, whereas the Thorn set you need to be in a safe spot or you can still die, which makes it still challenging to a degree since you can die at any second if you get caught in a big combo, leading me to also use 4 Elizabeth Mushrooms, 4 Divine Blessings, and the 2 healing over time spells. These healing tools helped with the last bit of the fight to keep me in without having to worry about getting a Humanity off. This isn't how I wanted to win this fight, but how the Four Kings are designed, I was left with no other option. Proving you can beat the Four Kings with only rolling, but not in the most fun way like the DLC bosses. Total fight time was 35 minutes with a total of 732 rolls to kill with 5 deaths. After that disappointing fight, it was time for Gwyn. Being the prideful bastard that I am, I refused to use Humanities for this fight. I needed to redeem myself from the Four Kings fight. On the first attempt, I experimented with parrying and trying to just dodge attacks, but that led to me more than often getting smacked running out of Estus. So in round 2, I switched to baiting out Gwyn's jump attack by running away. When he does his jump attack, I could just roll into him 2 or 3 times to get hits in, and if I would ever take damage and needed to heal, I could just also use those jump attacks to parries to get a heal in. I just did this patiently for 27 minutes and the mighty Lord of Cinder went down to rolling. Bringing me to answer the question, can you beat all bosses in Dark Souls with only rolling? Yes, you absolutely can. With all that said, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, hit that subscribe button. At this time, I would also like to thank my channel supporters. If you too would like to support the channel or have your name in the video, you can click the Patreon link in the description or click the YouTube join button. I also from time to time stream my runs, so you can catch me streaming on YouTube or over at Twitch at Arcane Gaming. I want to thank you all for watching, and until next time, take care.